Tee Higgins has been something of a disappointment the past few weeks. We haven't seen him get into the end zone at all. He hasn't cracked the century mark over the last few weeks as well. So it's really a question of should we really consider him or at least continue to roster him as a solid wide receiver two from a week in and week out perspective, especially now that Cincinnati is on their bye. They've been on a 2-game losing streak, so it's difficult for us to see what that entire offense is going to do after they come out of their bye and going into the second half of their season. But at least from an opportunity standpoint, I'm here to tell you that at least we should have some confidence in Higgins, even with some of the failings or setbacks that we've seen from Joe Burrow and the passing offense as a whole. Now, let's take a step back, though. Let's go all the way back to his rookie season and actually even still go back to his time in college. A receiver coming out of Clemson like himself, that athletic profile was something that we were excited about, and we saw a lot of that play out in his rookie season. I mean, noted wide receiver enthusiast Matt Harmon, he had noted that Tee Higgins, his success rate against man press coverage, 71.4% success rate against man coverage, 72nd percentile in his model that he uses. I mean, that's exactly what we would want to see. And even as we saw his average depth of target start to tick down over the course of the season, even after they lost Joe Burrow, we saw that production start to be there for Tee Higgins. We start to see him take on at least a larger part of that offense. And then now playing alongside Jamar Chase, it essentially has been just him and Chase. Now with Tyler Boyd being the odd man out, we'll see if that shifts after their bye. But let's focus on Higgins. Let's focus on that opportunity and let's see how that's really played out since he's come back from his shoulder injury in week 5. And again, y'all know I love my charts. I try and keep it as simple as possible to give y'all a visualization so you can see how I'm thinking about this. And let's go ahead and look at how T's opportunity has shaken out over the past 4 to 5 weeks. Now look at the target share has really been around a 23-24% target share. And that's great. I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, a 23% target share will absolutely take. I mean, from that perspective, his target share is actually close to, most of the wide receiver ones that we would consider from a fantasy perspective. It's more than Justin Jefferson as of right now. Justin Jefferson over the same 5-week span is sitting at a 21.5% target share. Stephon Diggs, who we all want to see him get back on track with Josh Allen, sitting at an 18.5% target share within his offense. So T is already getting the opportunity that we would consider for a wide receiver one in his own offense. But now also the one thing that I really do want to point out is that air yard share. I mean, look at that orange line and see how much he's been able to take, even in his own offense. We're sitting at, as of right now, over the last 4 to 5 weeks, we're sitting at a 34-35% air yard share in the Cincinnati Bengals offense. To compare to other wide receiver ones across the league, he's actually tied with Cooper Kupp. And now we'll see how Cooper Kupp's air yard share shakes out now with the Odell Beckham move, but also Tyreek Hill. He's short, just right behind Tyreek Hill, who sits at a 36.3% air yard share within the Chiefs offense. So even with Higgins not really performing, I mean, he's only had 40, the 42 targets are great, but 313 scoreless yards over the past 5 weeks. It's not something that pops in the box score, but these are the things that I'm trying to look at. These are the things that give me some confidence that T is actually going to be able to capitalize on that opportunity, even if the Bengals passing game hasn't been at least as explosive as it was in the previous weeks. I mean, Higgins himself, he sits at a he sits at a 12.1 ADOT and second in the red zone, in the targets from the red zone in his own offense. So that's really what we would want. The opportunity has been there. And then also, if you look at the types of routes that he's running, we're seeing him being used essentially all over the field. A deep threat, intermediate threat, also being used out of the backfield on some short targets. So he has that diverse route tree that you would expect to see. And even though the Cincinnati's offense, it's taken them 9 weeks in order just to get here to 18th in pass rate over expectation. The volume has now started to come in there as well, for that entire passing offense. So with the opportunity being there, with T actually being the type of athletic profile, the type of wide receiver that we would expect to be able to capitalize on that opportunity, I would expect bigger things or better days for Tee Higgins moving forward. I would also expect, with Cincinnati kind of having this bye week to reset think about how they can move on and not just completely rely on the explosive plays to Jamar Chase, the explosive plays to Tee Higgins, essentially have a jab to their haymaker. That's been the explosive plays they've had to either the wide receivers moving forward. I think it should be better days ahead for Higgins, and we should consider to start him as a wide receiver 2 with confidence. Check y'all later.